We're almost at 1,000. I bought this Jetboil and I had it overnighted. Guys, that's shocking.
Warning. The following video features tests involving human exposure to carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless, and tasteless poisonous gas. These tests were performed by a professional with an off-camera safety monitor. For your protection, do not attempt to replicate what you see here.
Hey, listen, I want you to know I would never, ever trade you for a Dalmatian. No, honestly, I mean, it's a good question. It's really not that hard of a job. I mean, it's like you show up and it's pretty much like, you know what I mean? I mean, you've peed on things before, so you basically have the general idea. Off to fight a fire, I see. Good luck, young man. What's happening? Ah, surprised you with that. Welcome back, guys. This is, well, it's the Whiskey Dog Lab. I've got my official fire hat on, and the reason I do is because we are testing carbon monoxide, and I had it, and I thought it would be a good way to make fun of them, so I put it on. This is day 2 of testing for carbon monoxide, or day 2 of carbon monoxide testing, I should say. We started this yesterday. I ran stoves, heaters, a bunch of stuff that you would typically find people using in camping situations, truck camping, tent camping, whatever. The issue that I was trying to address or trying to get information on was how much carbon monoxide do things like these little stoves. This is a FireMaple Fire Star or Fixed Star 1, I think. That's that little jet kind of finned stove there. It is a kind of a knockoff, I guess, of the Jetboil. Now, I used this stove yesterday, and I also used for comparison, a catalytic heater that was running on propane. These run on isobutane. And then I ran just a butane stove. You guys have seen me use a bunch of times that I don't remember what it's called. It's like a Coleman knockoff, isobutane, or yeah, that's a butane stove, isobutane here, and then propane on the catalytic heater.
I'm extremely confused.
Now, there were some things that happened with this, and I'll show you all that footage here in just a second, and I'll tell you why we're back out here today, which prompted me to go and grab one of my smaller little jet kind of pocket rocket type stoves and test it. So I tested 3 stoves and a heater, I think. I used all different fuel sources. Like I said, I covered all the bases with butane, isobutane, and propane, and some of those went very, very well, and some of them did not. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. So what exactly did happen yesterday? Or better yet, let's back up and talk about why we're even doing this. A couple episodes ago, I did this intro yesterday. I just don't know how it's going to hold up with what transpired after, so I'm reshooting all this stuff. A few videos ago, I was making coffee in here. I had the AC unit in. I had the back window that goes into the slider, into the cab. I had both of those open, truck and cap. I had a fan on the truck side pulling air through as the AC was going. That's how I was keeping the cab cool. So I had that blowing that direction. I had a vent on this side of the window as well, and I had a fan. All of that, I think, at least that was my theory at the time, allowed the carbon monoxide that was being generated off of this to pool up back there where my carbon monoxide detector is, which is right below that window at the front of the cab, or the front of the cap, I guess. So it reached 124 parts per million. That's concerning. So I thought, well, you know, we need to exercise due diligence and find out exactly how much carbon monoxide these things are putting off. With ventilation, I think it just pooled up down there, but I was kind of shocked and surprised how much this was actually generating, or what I thought was going to be an amount that it was generating. I was assuming probably a couple hundred parts per million, and so that's what I was kind of thinking and working with. However, yesterday when I got into this, I was very surprised. So what I'll do now is I'll let you guys see the footage from yesterday as we work through all of these stoves. My goal initially was to do it with an open and ventilated space, just as people normally would do it, and then turn around and do it in an enclosed environment, just to kind of highlight how severe it could be. I never got to the enclosed section because there were so many things that were very, very interesting, and we'll just leave it at that, about the initial testing, that it prompted me, this was the only stove, well, You know what? I'll let you watch what happened yesterday. All right, so I've got the back shut up. I'm going to, whoa, slam my fingers in. That's what I'm about to do. I'm going to get this rolling. I've got this small little fan here. I'm going to set up to mimic, like I said, the AC unit blowing across there. Angle it the right way. So to get that calibrated, so we are at 0. Let's get her started here. All right, we've got 14. We're already climbed. Okay, we are at, man, we are at 600, 700, 8. Guys, we're at 8. It was 8:03 a minute ago. It's obviously very concentrated right here by the stove. That's surprising. 964, 988, 9. We're almost at 1,000. 1102, 1206, 1377, 4. Okay, I think there's 1388 is where we were just at. I'm going to vent this, guys, because that's surprising to me. Like, now my 187. It's going to 228, 275. Let me turn this fan on and get this out of here because that, wow. That's crazy, guys. I mean, I've got everything in the world that can alert me going off. It's reading 268. Let me get this in some fresh air here. I wonder if this is still... I'm going to disconnect the stove. And we are still at 61. 38 over there. We're down below 50, so it's going to start. So now we are at 27. Guys, that's shocking. We've cleared out over here. That's absolute. Not only is it shocking, it's scary as hell. I don't know. Guys, that may be a stove issue. Let's do this again. Let's set this up. 231 over there, 415, 46. See where I'd be laying down at. Not that I'd lay down and cook. So we're staying right at about 332, 330 over here, 350. Let's take it up high. 405, 435, 460. Now heat's rising. We're at 5. Go down below. Yeah, we're at 560, 550. And then we're at a boil now. So let's see how long it takes for this to... I'm just shocked, guys. I'm literally shocked. It's rare. 163 and descending, 305 and climbing down here. Back to 309. See if we're getting any reading to make sure there's not a leak coming off of this somewhere. It's just showing 305. Let me show you this. So we're at 219. Just making sure I don't have anything going on leak-wise around here. 200. If it gets a little higher here, we're going to get into some... Let's check up top. Yeah, definitely higher concentrations up high. We're still at 315, 331, still climbing. Let's see what it maxes out to up here. So the higher up we are, we're still climbing. Looks like we're maxed out there. 435, 436, 437. See if it's more back here. No. So let's go down here at the floor and see what we're dealing with. And it's lowering down there significantly. All right, guys, I'm gonna let this air out and cool off, and I need some fresh air because, guys, I'm kind of at a loss for words here, and that never happens to me. All right, let's do her again. Let's just do it without the burner attachment, or the pot attachment this time. See what that does. We got nothing, 0 parts per million on there, with it just burning. Let's put the container on it, or the pot on it. We are at, I can smell a little bit of fume there. Yeah, now it's back up. So it's, let's see this. Okay, check it out. It's going down now. 245, 220. Oh shit, forgot I had water in there. So it's going down. It's getting hot as hell in here though. 170. It's slowly descending. I'm gonna make sure I'm not about to burn the damn top of my truck up here. I gotta vent this out. My God. That's crazy. All right, let's try it again. I'm trying to find some reason, some pattern, some continuity in this, in some fashion as to why this is doing that. And I just can't. I thought maybe it was the stove not being on tight enough. That doesn't seem to be the case. I've did it with the stove on and off. It seems to be maybe that whenever you put this on, it hinders the combustion, which would stand to reason. All right, guys, we're ready for round 2 on the second type of stove. And I did remember that I've got another small little, I don't know what they call those little stoves, little rocket stoves in there in the house. So I'll go grab it out of my other kit and come and bring that, and then we'll test that as well. But for now, I've got this fuel source is just straight butane. I'm using Coleman butane fuel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little water in here so I'm not messing with that pan dry. I'm trying not to burn myself here. Don't need a lot. All right. So we'll light this up. We are at 0 parts per million. That has been reset, so let's see what we can do here. All right, and that is on high. And let's see where we're at. I gotta take long for this to boil, that's for sure. Got 0 readings. I can feel the heat obviously coming off of that. A little bit of fume. We're still at 0. The water's already boiling, didn't take it long. We're at 0. But man, is that heating this place up. Good Lord. 0 over there, nothing. I've got 0. This is a cheap, it's a gas 1 stove. I listed in all the comments and stuff like that. Just a standard. So yeah, we've got 0 parts per million. That's at a full boil. So no carbon monoxide issues coming off of that. I'm going to have to kill that before this heat kills me, and I got to open this up. My God, it's probably, what's the temperature in here? Yeah, it's 103 in here right now. My goodness. Woo. Oh. And I'm sitting right above this heat. I don't know what the temperature is here, but it's a hell of a lot hotter than 103. The things I do for you people. Goodness gracious. All right, guys, we are going to get started here on the, well, what was going to be the final test. Where's my lighter at? There it is. Let me turn this fan off here. What I'm going to do now is, this is a catalytic heater. One of their big things is that you can use them in confined spaces. They don't make a lot of these anymore, or at least I haven't found them. This is a discontinued model from Coleman. But let's get this started in here and see. They're kind of a pain to light sometimes, so let me get my glasses on. We'll see what we can get figured out here. Hang on just a second. I think my wife's about to take the dog for a walk. Y'all going on a walk? Preacher, stop doing that. All right, so these are kind of a pain to light, like I said, so let's... Takes them a while sometimes.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
All right, I think we got her lit now. It's hard to tell in the daylight anyway. Yep. All right, we're going now. Holy cow. I'm going to set it where I would normally set it, which is down here on the floor, usually anyway. All right, so that's lit and putting off heat. We're at we're at 104 in here now. So let me turn that up just so we can see what we're working with there. Again, it's got a fiberglass mat or asbestos mat, I don't something like that anyway. And I don't pretend to know all about it, but anyway, they're supposed to be safer than a lot of different style of open flame heaters. But it's cooking right along, no pun intended. It puts out some heat, boy. And it is reading 0. So we'll leave that going for just a little bit. Make sure that we're not getting a reading anywhere else. Goodness gracious, that is hot. Golly. Oh my goodness. So, nothing. No carbon monoxide. And I've got that open and that open for ventilation, but we're not reading any. I'm right above it. Let me show you here. So yeah, here we are. We're right by the heater, and we're not reading or detecting any carbon monoxide. So what that means, guys, on these last two stoves where we're getting 0, even though there's combustion going on, it's complete combustions. Whereas on that FireMaple, apparently we were not. So we're not getting anything off of that. That's been going for some time, and we're still reading 0. I'm going to shut that off so I don't sweat to death in here. We'll shut that off. It's off. We'll let that cool down a little bit, and then, good Lord, open up and get some ventilation in here. I'm going to let this cool off. I'm going to go inside, get my other stove, and see what we can figure out with that. It'll burn the exact same, I'll hook it with the exact same canister of fuel. It uses the same isobutane. So I will go get that stove, set it up, and then we'll run a test with it and see what we can figure out. We are going to run a test with another little stove I've got. It's similar. I mean, it's those little rocket style, I don't know what you call them. I've had them for years with pretty much every camping trip I've ever been on. Anyway, looks like that. And I keep a little can in there, but what I'll do for continuity's sake, I'll use the same canister that we used before. If I can get her started on here. There we go. All right, so we have been reset here. Let's go ahead and get this started. Actually, put a little water in this pot. Take some for me. That's nasty. All over the place. All right, let's get this thing started up here. All right, we are still reading 0 here. So we've got nothing. I'm right there on it. Zero. All right, I don't think I'm going to wait for that water to boil. Let's see if we can maybe ratchet it up, see if that works. See if bringing a higher flame rate makes it not combust completely, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we are cooking right along there, boys. Woo. All right. That's going to be a 0 on that little stove with the exact same canister we used on the FireMaple. I think this is the FireMaple fixed star. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, we're getting nothing on that. Go ahead and shut that down and open this up because it's now 105, and that's conservative, I'm assuming, because it's a lot hotter than that in here. It feels that way. This little stove and this little titanium pot and stuff are part of a kit that I travel with sometimes if I'm teaching or on the road for short days and stuff like that. It's a really neat little kit. I'll break it down for you another time, but there'll be a link to all this stuff in the description. Woo. Hey, who would have thought that a titanium pot that's been sitting on metal on a stove for a period of time would be burning up hot? All right, so as you guys can see, there were some serious concerns with this stove. The other stoves producing 0 emissions was kind of not really an apples to oranges comparison, but it wasn't this style. It didn't have this burner style. So I thought I didn't have anything to compare it to again, for an apples to apples. So I bought this. I bought this Jetboil, and I had it overnighted simply to test in here. My question was, does the Jetboil produce as much carbon monoxide given the exact same conditions as the FireMaple? So that's what we're going to test today. Now let me preface all of this, guys. Just because I have a fire helmet doesn't mean I'm a certified firefighter. I don't have narcolepsy, which obviously ruled me out for the job. But that said, I touched on this yesterday, and I want to make sure that I'm being very clear on this, so I'm going to reiterate it or tell it to you for the first time if I scrap that footage. I spent over 30 years, or right at 30 years, in a job that unfortunately had me respond to multiple over that 30 years, multiple instances where people had lost their lives due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Some of that was intentional, and unfortunately, a lot of it was not. Just sheer accident. So having responded to those types of things, it's always in the back of my mind. So when I started truck camping, and again, I've been back camping, or backpacking and camping and stuff, and doing 10, whoa. Let me get that out of the way here. Welcome to Oklahoma. There you go. I had been, or have been, backpacking 10 plus miles a lot of times a day, whether it's through hikes or just in and outs and stuff like that, and doing primitive camping for years. And I've used all kinds of stoves. Everything that you can think of that's been on the market since probably about 1991, I've had in some fashion and ran. So I'm not new to this, and I was trying to attribute a lot of what I was having with this yesterday as far as the issues to user error. But guys, it's not that hard to screw on a damn canister. It's just not. So what we did yesterday was we used the same canister in all those testings. So I'm going to take that same canister. I have enough to start and do the initial testing with the Jetboil, I believe. So we'll have some continuity there. So I'll test it with that canister, and then I will go back and we'll put a new canister in, and we'll run the FireMaple and the Jetboil side by side with a new canister, see if that changes anything. Now the detectors I'm using, I've got two separate detectors. I've got a handheld, and I've got a smaller actual unit, like is what I keep in here. I'll be using both of those, the handheld to measure kind of at the source and around more mobile spots within the truck cab or the cap, and then the one up by my head, or it's positioned where I sleep, kind of up by my head, and I want that one there so it will kind of give me a reading of what it would be under just kind of normal conditions where I'm laying. So that one's going to be stationary, and I'll have the other one as a mobile testing unit. All right guys, but that's enough talking about this stuff. Let's start day 2 testing, and let's start off with this, then we'll follow up with this on the same canister we used yesterday, like I said, and see where we're at. So it's about 100 degrees out here already, and I'm going to lock myself up in here, and it's going to suck. But hey. We are zeroed there. Let's hook up the Jetboil and see if I can do this without, good Lord, without putting my glasses on, of course. Okay, nice and snug, just not having to think about it, just doing it the way it needs to be done. All right. So you guys can see that. Nothing. Now we got a little bit of something here. 14, 13, got a little bit. Okay. We are at 130, 166, 194, climbing here. It was getting pretty hot, and he's been sitting out here, so I thought I'd turn the sprinklers on and let him play for a while I shot video. He'll play there as long as I let him, and he gets a shower out of it. All right, guys, I got time, or I got enough in me. I got plenty of time, but I got enough in me, I think, for one more test here, because it's stupid hot and humid. And anyway, let's get this rolling, shall we? Hold it that way. There we go. Got a little bit of it, registered 1 on that little spurt that came out there, I guess. We're back down to 0. So let me get this. Dang it. This one's hard to hold. I will say that about the FireMaple. It's a little easier to hold sometimes. As far as to ignite, anyway. There we go. Spin that around for y'all. Alright, we are at 0. Let's give her a go. Yep. We're picking it up now. Didn't do that earlier, but we're picking it up now. 49. 47, 53. Let's see if we can turn the burner down on this one and see if it makes a difference. $125, $117. And the burner down obviously seems to reduce it a little. We're right at 80, 85. Let's go up high. That'll kick on here in a little bit, I would imagine. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it back up like we, oh, crap. $362, $359. Let's see if we get down low here. Pick up some good ones. No, $350. I think $350 was at the highest, maybe? I can't remember now. It's obviously boiling. Big time boiling. Alright, and we've got over here, we're at 62, 63, 66, it's climbing. 79, 80, it's over 118 now, 129, 140, there we are, 151, it's reading 180, leave it right there, 180, 194, I'm reading 101 over here, 202 there. Alright, and we still have 180 there, and we're still 104 over here. Test over this way. Higher concentrations along the floor. Again, that's carbon monoxide is a little heavier. It's a little slightly heavier than air. And obviously we're going to have some up high just because of the heat rising and pushing it up there. 200. So you can see how this is still in dangerous concentrations even after we've got the stove off. Let's see if I can get that there for you. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna vent this out because that's not good for me either, obviously. Set these out here to get some air. All right, let's get started here. Get this connected. Zero. Oh, yeah, we're picking up. Goes down. Now we're about 92, 95. It gets us. We're not reading anything over here yet. We're at 411. 400 down here. Yeah, we get down here, we get into the bad stuff. 5, it went over 5 for a minute there. So this is all around the source. Let's see what we're pulling back over here. I've got 250, 253. I'm reading 305 here, 525s. Turn that off real fast and open this up and vent it out. Turn the fan on in here. We're at that's 67. I should have checked that before I, no, we're still climbing. 74, 84, if you can see that, 89. So it was just making its way when I opened that up, probably to pull it over there. We're down around 41. Let me vent this out, guys, and then we'll kick back up in a minute. Zeroed out. Let's see what we got here at the source. Nothing so far. Nope, we're climbing now. 27, 32. So it takes a little while, it seems like, on this Jetboil to get the numbers up there. We're at 35. I expect that to probably climb here over the next few. Yep. 70, 89, 86, 75, 82, climbing. Let's check these pockets over here. About 52 right here. Let's go down lower. We drop below 50 down here. We're at 33, 28. Go back over this direction. It's climbing, 29, 38. That is about to go off, I can tell you right now. Just needs a few more minutes. 76, up high here, we're gonna get over 100, 202, 250, 277, 3. We're over 4. Now remember, that has to take into account the parts per million over a period of time before it's going to set off. $195. Highest we're going to get here. 238, 266, 295, 388. Now this is where my sleeping area is. That's right there on my pillow. All right. Oop. Good Lord. I gotta get this open. Burning up. Burning up. And we are, yeah, that finally came on. 61 is where it's at. I didn't catch it. See if it was higher than that before then. A little bit of a boil over here. I've boiled more water in the last 2 days than a midwife has in her entire career. All right, let me get this aired out and stuff, and then I'll meet you guys outside and we'll talk out there. Hey guys, just real quick, I know I don't have the lights on or anything, I've already turned things off, but I wanted to, that's at 0. I wanted to test this with just the canister on and not a pot to see if that that changed anything. I know it did on the FireMaple yesterday. Yesterday, when I ran this and did this with the FireMaple, it didn't have any carbon monoxide registering until I put the pot on there. So we'll do this real quick without trying to damage the top of my roof there. And we're not getting anything. Try different flame settings here. Right over the top. Nothing. And this is what I saw yesterday with the FireMaple. And I can smell the hair on my arm burning right now though. You don't try this at home, kids. I think we better put this on and have a conversation about fire safety. Stop playing with matches. It'll make you wet the bed. I think what we got here is fire that's out. So that means it's lunchtime. We can watch The Price is Right, and then we can go to bed. Well, what did we learn today, guys?
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know, sir.
I don't know either.
For one thing, we learned that I look devilishly handsome in a fireman's hat. I mean, that's just a given. We learned that if you are using any of these types of little fin turbo jet type stoves in a confined space, you are playing with fire, and really, no pun intended, you are potentially putting your life in danger. If you, even with ventilation, they don't ventilate enough. I mean, you need to use them completely outside. They have to have maximum ventilation. And that's what these manufacturers say. I'm not trying to say, oh, what a revolutionary thing I've just discovered. You know, if you burn something in a confined space, it releases carbon monoxide and you can die. I'm not trying to show you some epiphany that I've had. What I'm doing is I wanted to highlight, because we see these stoves, right, and their different variations used on YouTube videos all the time. I did it. That's what prompted me to make this, is because I was parroting. I told you before, I've worked fatalities with carbon monoxide poisoning, so I know the dangers. Yet I thought that I was ventilating enough. I thought that these were trustworthy enough that they weren't spewing as much as they apparently are. And so I thought it was okay. And yeah, I was, and it's embarrassing to admit, I was influenced by influencers, if you will. I know that's not what guys call themselves, but I was influenced by what I saw, and I thought, well, they're using that with success, and I saw them venting and everything like that. And so I just did what I thought I knew how to do based off my background, and then again, seeing what other people had done with success. But whenever my smoke, or when my carbon monoxide detector went off, that was a revelation for me that, hey, maybe something is more dangerous than I thought, and maybe the parameters that I'm using or I'm establishing to make it safe aren't really doing that. And that's what I found, that despite ventilation, despite having fans, all that stuff, these things are still producing carbon monoxide at varying levels, right? The two stoves were somewhat drastically, if you will, different in the amount that they did produce, with the FireMaple copious amounts versus the what was produced by the Jetboil. Now, that said, are either one of those levels acceptable that were produced? Absolutely not. So those smaller levels, what you need to understand is maybe they're putting out at the source maybe 20, 50 parts per million, which seems manageable. But over a period of time, that concentration builds, and then that's where you have the problem. So you can have 1,000 or 1,500 parts per million for an instant that might dissipate a little faster, versus a 50 parts per million that's going to, over a longer period of time, that you may be using thinking you're okay, and then that level, the concentration level, is building up to toxic levels. The other thing was shocking to me that the other appliances that I tested just didn't produce anything. They just didn't. Now, do I still want to risk running those in here based off what I've done the last 2 days? I would feel more comfortable using some of the other appliances over these type of jet stoves. But even then, I'm not turning things on and going to sleep, man. And I'm not doing anything without adequate ventilation. So was this a uber scientific experiment? Absolutely not. Did I probably do things that some of you are going to pick apart? I'm positive that I am. I understand steam and stuff like that can play a factor. At least that's what I've heard and read, and to a degree. But I moved the that one detector around, trying to get as many different readings as I can. And so hopefully you understand where that was coming from. Guys, at the end of the day, I'm just a dude in his driveway with a couple of cameras and some stoves, man. I'm just boiling water out here. I think that it's interesting. I think that it satisfied my curiosity, both just as to what was really being produced and how what was produced might affect my safety, both short-term and long-term. And so because of that, I'm out here. Why am I making this video? Because I think that there's a lot of people that have misinformation or just no information because they just don't realize how dangerous this could be. Or they've seen people like myself post videos where we're doing this type of stuff. And I'm not saying that's irresponsible. I'm just saying that's just kind of what we do in the world that we're in. And, you know, you see people ramping motorcycles. That doesn't mean that it's safe, right? I think we have a pretty good amount of information over the last couple days on these things. I think that it was very eye-opening for me. I hope that it was for you. I hope you found something of interest. And if it sparks debate, if it creates a conversation, whether that's between you and me or you and your friends or whatever, then that's not really a bad thing, right? Because during those conversations, that's where the learning happens, unless you're talking to morons, and then nothing happens but frustration. So from all of us here at Whiskey Dog Fire Department, I want to wish you guys a great weekend and a great week to come. Now, if you'll excuse me, I feel a little calendar shoot coming on. Oh yeah, put some baby oil in your travel. Mr. July.
I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning. And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing home run.